You got access to ChatGPT and you use it daily, but most of the time you use GPT-4o, which is right now the default model if you're a paid user. We've come from GPT-3.5 to GPT-4 to GPT-4o, and of course we have the amazing new line of models, which is the o1, and hopefully very soon the successors of o1. At the moment, o1 is o1 Preview and o1 Mini. But anyways, in this video, I'm going to explain exactly when and why and how I use which model. I'm going to do a model comparison. There's going to be some use cases, and I'm going to show you exactly why I switch different models. And I'm pretty sure that's going to help your day to day, and it's going to help you get the most out of AI. Well, this is Tim Cakir. I'm the founder of AI Operator. I've been training entrepreneurs and founders for over 2 years now on AI. And I've been involved with AI for the past 7 years when AI wasn't sexy, but now it is very nice. So let's now dive into these amazing models that we have at hand. But let me remind you something. GPT-4, GPT-4o, and the previous model, GPT-3.5, are a line of models that are the GPT. GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. And the O1 potentially is the Orion, but I'm not sure that is. The O actually doesn't stand for anything like the GPT. It stands for a whole new series of models, and this is why it's the O1. O is for OpenAI. Basically, OpenAI is saying that this is a brand new model that nobody else has invented, so they're starting to name it however they want, which is quite cool. For a while, we will see both lines of models, the GPTs and the O1s, being developed, and we will get some new models. Not GPT-5 apparently this year, which is very sad. That's what Sam Altman had said in a AMA inside Reddit. But also what was said is that both lines will continue. So we'll get that GPT-5 at some point, and the O1 preview at the moment will become an O1, and potentially that'll come an O1.5, O2, O3, whatever. But at some point, the goal, the vision, is to merge these two. Before that, potentially ChatGPT itself will decide when to use which model. But at some point, these two technologies will merge into one model that is going to be the model that we will use later on. We don't know yet when, but that is going to come at some point very soon. Let's dive deep into these models. Let's see some use cases. Let's understand the differences and when and how and why and all that on when to use them. Since now we can see ChatGPT in front of us, let's talk about where to find the models. Well, it starts with your sidebar, then a new chat, and then your models. Selecting your model is by clicking on it, and what you'll get is you'll get a drop down. In this drop down, what happens is that you have first your model that you're using right now, which is GPT-4o, which, as they say, is great for most tasks. Do I agree? Yes, it's great for most tasks. Then we have GPT-4o with Canvas, which we're going to speak later about. We have O1 Preview, O1 Mini, and if you come down to more models, we have GPT-4o Mini and the GPT-4o Legacy model. And in another previous video, I've said about the temporary chats, but that's if you don't want anything to go into your memory or if you don't want your memory to be used. If you haven't seen that video yet, make sure to watch that video. It should be somewhere on the screen. Before we dive into using them, let's talk about them very quickly. So the GPT-4o model is multimodal, meaning it can handle text, images, video, and audio files. But this doesn't happen in ChatGPT because the model, which we say the GPT-4o model, as you can see here, is GPT-4o, great for most tasks. But in the backend, it uses the actual GPT-4o model as an API, and there you can do so much more than what you can do on ChatGPT. But the things that you could do here are quite simple, actually. You can use it for text, of course. You can use it for images. So you can analyze images. You can upload an image and you can ask, what is this image? You can analyze it quite well. You can use it for audio file conversion, which I've done previously as well. But you're getting errors if you do upload a video and you want a transcript or things like that. Most of the times I get errors. So that's your GPT-4o model. What is it good for? It's good for most tasks, right? I want to create a process for my YouTube video creation. So it's great when you ask it one thing. Of course, this is not my best prompt ever. You should, have much more details. But it's great when you're saying one task. It's great when you're asking a question, right? So as you can see, it's quite quick and it's going to get the job done. Of course, please customize your prompts and don't just do what I did. It's also great at questions like how to build a rocket. Here we go. Building a rocket is a complex process. Wow, really? But here's a simplified breakdown. Can I really do that? Maybe. It's great at quick questions. It's great at quick tasks. Things like if you wanted to do an email, if you wanted to review something, if you wanted to work on a campaign, if you wanted to work on a LinkedIn post or a blog post on most of your tasks, as it says, great for most tasks. But when would I switch to O1 Preview? This is one of the greatest questions. I would switch to O1 Preview if I had something that I wanted to do that was more strategical, that was more about decision making, was about planning something, right? So a little bit more than just a task at hand. You can also say, but most of the time if I say this, people will correct me. It's GPT-4o is great at tasks and O1 is great at projects. But of course, GPT-4o is great at projects as well. But the difference here is that in GPT-4o, we're always doing chain of thoughts, meaning, give me the step-by-step, try this first, look at that. This is how we should do a marketing strategy or things like that. But with O1 Preview, the difference is that it does that automatically because it has reasoning. So there are studies coming that maybe they are not actually that good at reasoning, but it has some chain of thought in the back end. So it will think about the task at hand. So it will build a project for itself. Let's see. First of all, it says uses advanced reasoning. But let's say that we wanted to do the same thing, create a process for my YouTube video creation. So the difference that you are going to see now is that it says it's thinking. Ooh, it's thinking. What I like is that it's starting to actually tell you what it's doing. It's initiating the process, it's charting the course, it's putting together equipment, it's crafting the content, and then YouTube video creation process, and then the whole thing. So then you get idea generation and research, content planning, pre-production preparation, filming, post-production editing, thumbnail and metadata creation, blah, 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 right? And it's still going. As you can see, it continued on. It's quite good. Would you get a massive difference between GPT-4o and O1 if you did a task about a YouTube creation process? I'm not sure so. This is not when I would use it, but I would use O1 Preview if I was going for something like this. I am struggling putting my product in the hands of my potential customers. We sell a new AI hardware. We are targeting the European market. We are facing a lot of issues with GDPR and the EU with its new AI. So as you can see here, I'm more telling it the problems that I'm having. Well, this is not the best prompt neither, but I want to show you quickly a little bit the difference. That O1 Preview likes it when you're telling it about the context or the problems you're facing. And you don't even have to tell it how to solve and what to do about it. So it's going to be thinking. It's going to be identifying the challenge, understanding regulatory impact, and it's going to continue step by step in what it says about reasoning, which is a bit of a chain of thought. And it's coming with kind of some steps. So it's still a very small, easy prompt. But imagine that you're putting the exact details about the problems you're facing, the context where you are, and so on, and you want something much more complex. You want it to reason. This is a great model for that. And I will do separate videos about each of the models and some great use cases about them. But this is for you to understand a little bit the difference of the GPT models and the O1 and successor models. Is that one has this reasoning, which is chain of thought, that's on the O1 model, and GPT-4o or GPT models doesn't have chain of thought. So we've been hacking our way using GPT-4o and putting chain of thought and asking it to do things step by step ourselves. But automatically the O1 model do that. So now let's talk about the 𝐂1 mini. And you might say, why would I use the mini? The 𝐂1 preview, by the way, is still a preview model. It is expected that the 𝐂1 model itself, not the preview, will be much, much, much more stronger, meaning better output, better quality. So that's coming soon. Potentially, if the GPT-5 model is not being released this year, there is a big chance that we will get the 𝐂1 model. And hopefully we'll get multimodality, meaning we can put documents, images, and stuff like that inside the 𝐂1 model. That'd be quite cool. So when would I use the 𝐂1 mini? It is said in an official webinar from OpenAI that the 𝐂1 mini is great at math and at coding. So I would use the 𝐂1 mini at things like reviewing code or reviewing some mathematical formulas and calculations. Let's calculate the hemisphere, volume of a hemisphere, blah, blah, blah. So the 𝐂1 mini model is faster, is more cost efficient if you were not using ChatGPT and you were using the API, of course. The best use cases is really fast and technical tasks. So it's really good at debugging complex code and writing code. This is why I'll do some separate videos diving deeper into these models. But for now, what I would do is look at the difference between GPT-4o and 𝐂1 preview in my day-to-day. So let's say that in the morning, I want to create a document for a team member. I'd use GPT-4o. But let's say that I wanted to start thinking about our 2025 marketing plan for our company, I would potentially go with 𝐂1 preview. And of course, as you've seen, 𝐂1 mini, it's a mini model of the 𝐂1 preview. And it's really good at math and coding and solving problems inside code. So as you can see here, 𝐂1 preview is advanced reasoning, while 𝐂1 mini is faster at reasoning. So we still have GPT-4o mini, faster for everyday tasks. Well, to be honest, I don't use 4o mini. I would use 4o mini if I've hit the limit of my 4o usage, which I don't most of the case, and I have a couple of different accounts just in case that happens. But use GPT-4o mini if you hit the limit of your GPT-4o, or if you really are doing a simple task and you want a quick answer, you can use the 4o. The GPT-4 legacy model, I haven't used it since we've come to GPT-4o. But again, I would use GPT-4o legacy model if I've hit the limits with the other models. I'm not going to tap into those, but I'm going to talk very quickly about GPT-4o with Canvas. It's still in beta. It's to collaborate on writing and code. I definitely will do a separate video about this, but let's tap into GPT-4o with Canvas very quickly. The amazing thing with GPT-4o with Canvas, as I've shown in a previous video very quickly as well, is that you can do the same thing that we've done. Let's create a process for my YouTube video creation. And what you will see now is that this is going to open a document. As you've seen, we've suddenly separated it into two. We have this divider in between that we can use as well to make the right bigger, the right smaller, or the left smaller. But as you've seen, the difference that we're getting in this new beta is that on the right side, we have the document itself. On the left side, we have the chat. This is incredible because if you wanted to change something on the right, you can just talk to it on the left and say, great, can you add a information box? So what you'll see is it says editing. And as you can see on the right, it's already started to add that and it's gone through the whole thing. But it's amazing because you don't have to keep chatting it in one window, lose where you are, try to find that information, change it, copy and paste it into another doc, bring it back, because that's what we used to do when we were creating some documents. But now, as you can see, with GPT-4o with Canvas, we're getting this canvas, which is this document on the side, but also this is really good for code, which I'll show you in a second. But I'll dive deeper into these models, as I mentioned. But here, as you can see on the bottom right, you'll get things like suggest edits, adjust the length, reading level, add final polish, add emojis, which is the silliest one. Also, GPT-4o with Canvas is great at coding tasks. Let's write code for a Chrome extension that saves posts on LinkedIn that I like. So what you'll see again is suddenly we're going to get this document, which is this code on one side. Again, we can make one side smaller, one side bigger. And on the left, we're actually talking about the code and what we're doing. But on the right, we have the code itself. So instead of having that little code block inside the chat somewhere. We now have it on the right. Same thing, you get some things like code review, port to a language, which is awesome because you can change it to any other languages. You get fix bugs, which is very cool, add logs, and add comments, which I really like that as well, because a lot of developers used to not add comments, so maybe they could click add comments. And you can click on code review, and it's supposed to review its own code, and it should be adding comments. So it's saying to consider something, and you can actually apply it. You can accept that, and it will add that, and it will change the code again. It'll review it, and it will add that comment. So that's how to code with ChatGPT 4o with Canvas, which is the GPT-4o model with Canvas. It's still in beta, so I'm sure we're going to get better improvements very soon. Just to recap very quickly about our models, we have GPT-4o, which is great for most tasks, and this is the model that I use mostly all the time, like it's my default, of course. We have GPT-4o with Canvas, which was shown at the end, is on beta, but it creates that little document on the side, so you can talk about it on the left, and you can see it on the right, which is great when you're doing anything like documents, creating stuff like that. You're going to copy and paste, that could be code and stuff like that. And we saw O1 Preview, which I do love O1 Preview. When I want to do something a bit bigger than just a task, but I want to start thinking about a strategy, a plan. I want to review maybe a lot of documents, and I copy and paste them in there, and I say, hey, analyze these, give me stuff, let's think about that. These type of tasks are great with O1 Preview. And as OpenAI said, O1 Mini is kind of the same, of course, because it's the mini version of that O1 Preview, which is faster at reasoning, is great at math, and is great at code review. Of course, you still have GPT-4o Mini and GPT-4 Legacy model, and enjoy it. I think the best way to do this is to go and take a task and try it on both and see the results. And then take another bigger task, do it on both, on GPT-4o and O1 Preview, and look at the differences. Look at where it's taking you. Right? Most of the time, if you're doing any type of content and so on, you're going to use GPT-4o anyways, because O1 Preview is not the best copywriter, which, 4o is not also the best copywriter, but it's a little bit better than O1 Preview. But O1 Preview is great at creating that chain of thought, that step-by-step, that what they call the reasoning. Well, that's it. You have the powers in your hands now. You know when to use which model and how. I'll dive deeper into these models and use cases in separate videos. But for now, just go and play with different models to understand them and to really understand when you want to use which model. Because this is crucial, as we are going to get improvements in these models, and we are going to get new models on top of these very, very soon. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, because we're just starting and I'm really loving doing these for you, and I hope you find great value in them. If you do, please give it a like, share it with others, invite others, and comment below and tell me what you liked, what you didn't like. What would you like to see next? I really want to make these videos for you. This is Tim Cakir, founder of AI Operator. Thank you very much.